What?
It's yes or no.
Yeah, I mean...
I'm sorry, yes or no?
Yes or no.
Yes. It's just upsetting to think.
I understand.
Not everybody gets to do that in their life.
So one last time. You brought evidence of violations by one of Carol's attorneys to the judge.
No.
All right.
Can we go off the record, please?
Yes.
Off the record, 323.
Lydia. Robert Cruz. Is that right?
Well,
Robert
I'm just
Cruz,
going to
the
ask.
secretary, it's very simple, called me. She gave me a piece of paper. I called the number. They told me to go to the judge. We had a hearing. I didn't know what to do. I was waiting on Mr. Cruz. Mr. Cruz didn't show.
All right, let me ask you a series of yes or no questions, and if you can't answer them with yes or no questions, just say can't answer, okay? So yes, no, or can't answer. Did you have any problem with Mario Castanedis' representation of Carol Davis?
Yes.
Did you bring any of those concerns to Judge Bull's attention?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, how about Robert Cruz? Did you have any problems with the way that Mr. Cruz represented Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Did you, either in writing or orally, bring that to anyone's attention?
I brought it to Robert's attention, yes.
Robert being?
Cruz.
Who is Robert?
Robert Cruz. Mr. Cruz.
The lawyer.
Oh, the lawyer himself?
Yes.
So you complained to the lawyer.
Yes.
But did you ever complain about Mr. Cruz's representation to any third party?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. We got through the lawyer section.
She did complain in court about his representation before Judge Rand.
We had a discussion.
Okay, well, let me ask about that. I appreciate the clarification. Did you raise any concerns with any third party, i.e. a judge, about the way Mr. Cruz was representing Ms. Davis?
Yes or no?
I didn't bring it up.
Yes,
I did. It was discussed in front of the judge, yes.
Okay, so in front of, if I had been sitting in court that day, I would have heard you say that to some extent, Mr. Cruz's representation of Carol Davis was less than perfect.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the clarification. All right. All right, well, let's get to these photos, and then soon I have to turn things over to Miss Matlock. I'm so tired. Okay. When Miss Davis showed up at your house, I believe that's where we were at some point earlier this morning, she showed up at your house with Mr. S. His name starts with S.
Stell?
Mr. Stell?
At the hospital thing?
No, I'm talking about Monday, February 19th, yes. 2001.
Joseph Stell.
Okay. They show up at your house. You hadn't talked to her since Sunday morning. They show up at your house, and you said you started taking pictures. I'm going back to the arrest.
I took pictures, yes.
Okay. When Carol shows up at your door, this is the first time you've talked to her since she's been arrested?
I think, yes.
Okay. And what was the nature of that conversation?
Nate, I don't understand the question.
I mean, between the time that she knocked on your door and the time you started taking pictures, what did you guys talk about?
Well, we got to hurry up, make these pictures, because we got to go to Austin. It was basically, what are you going to wear?
So there was a court hearing coming up the next day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, we had to get in the car.
All
like,
right,
we had to hurry up and get her.
How, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to assume that Carol was unhappy, but I'm sure she wasn't thrilled about spending the night in the Harris County Jail. But how would you describe Carol's demeanor at that point when she came to your door?
I would describe the pictures. The pictures pretty well speak for themselves.
Her
demeanor was. Yeah, I don't know how to describe if you've never been in jail or if you've.
Happy, sad, angry, frustrated. I mean, how would you describe her?
You're kind of in shock. You're kind of withdrawn and in shock. I mean, just exhausted from being there. It's just a process of getting it off of you. Rinsing it off and stuff. Getting it off. You have to get it off and
So did she shower at your place?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, whose idea was it to take photos?
Mine. I mean, always mine.
Okay, and Why take photos?
because she was bruised.
Okay, were you under the impression at that point that the bruises came from the alleged assault from Mr. Davis or from the alleged assault by Officer Lorenz?
She was very specific about the Lonnie bruise, and the reason I remember is because when you stand her in a certain light, you could see certain bruises. When you stood her in a different light, you saw other bruises. But she was so thin at that point that you could see her bones, and so it's very dramatic to see. But you could see my only observation basically was that she had left hand prints and right hand prints, which she didn't see. And I mean you could see handprints on both sides.
You're touching your neck.
Well, you could see somebody's handprint here, and you could see
On
somebody's
the
handprint
left side
here.
of your neck and on the right side of your neck.
But you didn't really say, you could. That wasn't really the point she was making. Her point was that there was a cane bruise in her chest, and that was her main concern.
Okay. Let's. All right, let's go over some of these photos.
There's just some that are dated need to be
I
taken.
don't think all those were taken on the 19th. I think they were taken after the hearing on February the 20th.
Okay, I'm going to ask her. I'll ask her when they were taken. All right. Let's start with the one on top. Do you recognize that picture?
That this is a March picture.
Well,
There's another March picture of the
hold
leg.
on 1 second. You said you don't have any objection to us attaching these as exhibits?
No, I have color photos that are just as good as these.
Because then they will be in the possession of the court reporter until
Okay, do you want me to panic about it?
No.
The thing is that we won't be able to get them back or blow them up or anything, right?
They can still be copied. The court reporter can actually make copies, color copies for your copy of the deposition or
I
for
have-
our copy. And this way they'll be preserved. This way they'll be,
Your rule.
hang on, y'all, only
I'm
one
gonna
time.
go on it.
Pardon?
I'm ready to make a decision.
All right.
We're gonna keep the pictures and y'all can have copies.
I didn't give them to the court reporter gentleman, and but the guy that copies. I mean, I was hesitant of giving him my things. Do you understand? He didn't. I said I had specific things, like I told you.
Where are your color copies?
These are the color copies.
You said you had
I have
just,
Well, they're in every exhibit. You see, I've made all the color copies. I have color copies.
do you have another set with you that we can use as exhibits?
I think so.
Well, I think I have some from her deposition, but I don't know that we
You
have
could
all
just color
these
copy them on a
photos.
machine.
Do a color copy.
There's some color copies, don't we have some?
Well, are these not usable?
Well, they're not as good at some point. We want to get a better set of that.
So either she can produce it or she has to give it to us to make copies, one way or the
Well,
other.
Well,
These aren't
do you mean if I
sufficient.
give them to you to make copies, then you will give me back those photos?
Well,
Well, let the court reporter answer. You can do that here.
originals back. Sure.
so we mark them as exhibits. They go with you. Color copies go on the depot transcript. Color copies, and then the original goes back to. Beautiful. Anyone have a problem with that? Okay.
But I thought that other guy was going to do it. That's why I said I didn't know.
We'll keep it with the record.
Yeah, I mean,
All right. Do you recognize, before we mark it as an exhibit,
Mark them all into the
wait, there's two you need to separate out. Let me show you.
Let's take a break, mark them all.
okay, we'll take a
There's
break.
only
All right.
two, and they're already
All right.
marked.
Go quicker.